So-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and speckled-bird Israelites, being the Israelite foreigners, scattered across the four corners of the earth, including within America, Babylon the Great. And we are the Most High Yahweh's chosen people of the nation of Israel. So without further ado, as always, in the Lashawan Kodash, being the Holy Tongue, is in the Paleo-Hebrew, being the ancient Hebrew, and we give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who was the God of the living, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baruch, which is our praise to the Heavenly Father Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, who is our strength and our Redeemer, and our light and our salvation. In the same tongue, Ma'adam Mashrana, Kabawadium, Lahasaquanium, Shal Gadawar Bakab, meaning double honors to the apostles and elder bishops, the great millstone, and Shalom on his salutations to Bayashid Awadah, all right, which is the house of David, along with the rest of the 1/3 elect men, women, and children of Israel. As your fellow servant Malak Rayab, should back at it, giving another lesson through the spirit of prophecy, being a testimony of our Lord and Savior, Hamashiach Yahushai, whom the masses of the world ignorantly refer to Jesus Christ. And this lesson is entitled, A Prime Example of Poor Judgment and the Last Generation. All right. Because the system, this current beast system, all right, which is of the wicked covering cast of the entire earth, okay, being America, Babylon the Great, aka Egypt, it has been predicated off of unrighteous judgment, okay, based off of partiality, all right, being partial in judgment, as in biased in judgment, all right, in favor of wicked doers, all right. And the prime example, one of the further prime examples of that, is the unfair and unbiased and unrighteous judgment, upon our people, all right, during the segregational period, all right, and around the civil rights movement, all right, where you had Jakes and specifically Israelite men of the so-called Negro tribes, okay, being unjustifiably accused of crimes they didn't commit, including, supposedly raping women, such as Emmett Till, all right, George Stinney, who were both brutally put to death under, Esau's partial, ungodly, unrighteous beast system, okay, through their so-called court of law, all right, where they carry out these wicked judgments within their Freemasonic court systems. So this further confirms. Further identifies who the devil the Bible speaks of, whose wicked hands the earth was given into, prophesied in Job 9:24. And it's none other demographic of people but the self-proclaimed Caucasian or white race of the bloodline of Esau, Edom, the Edomites. So the case in point, video on the screen, okay, I'm about to go ahead and play, is a prime example, another prime example of poor judgment in the last generation, all right, where, wicked men, as a further example of wicked men waxing worse and worse. Wicked men seducers waxing worse and worse. All right. And none other is more wicked and more of a seducer than the modern day Pharisee, the modern day Chaldean, as in warlock, Esau, Edom. All right. The wicked international crime banking families, to be exact. All right. As I believe it was Bob Floor, what was his name? I can't think of his name right now, but one of the top bankers, said, give me access to their money, and I care not who prescribes their laws. And this is another reason why this current beast system is so unlawful in favor of wickedness. So there's a prime example through this video I'm going to play where there was a deadly car accident that took the lives of this young Jake couple 4 years ago, and albeit the incident was 4 years ago, but the judgment was so graphic, and when this platform, Abba and Preach, had brought out this report, it influenced me to do a lesson just to further showcase the contrast of righteous judgment and wicked judgment, all right, and the consequences of unrighteous and judgment, all right, and the benefits of righteous judgment, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip in fair use.
All right, here we go.
This video contains police body cam footage that captures the final moments of a young couple on their first date just minutes before a fatal crash that claims both of their lives. In the early hours of August 4th, 2021, Officer John Nunez of the North Bergen Police Department pulls over a 2022 Kia Stinger for excessive speeding and reckless driving. Inside the vehicle are the driver, 24-year-old Luis Fernando Ceballos, and his passenger, 27-year-old Alexis Rodriguez.
The reason for this
thing is the car is new, so I don't really have the registration.
you got the temporary one that they give you with the template.
Yeah.
So that's your registration, right?
Yeah.
The reason for the years. I know. That's why I stopped them. Ma'am, that's why I stopped them. Have a nice night, okay? Yeah, that's why I'm stopping you for reckless driving, careless driving, speeding, and the light you ran, okay?
So the woman, though, driving an SV, told the Maya Day Centurion, this cop, that this idiot, all right, this young GMO baby reprobate, all right, driving the car, all right, had almost hit a kid on a bike, and almost hit the lady, because he was doing 100 miles per hour in a in an area that was of a non-highway. Okay, it's gonna further explain in the video. All right, continue.
You're doing at least 100 on Kennedy Boulevard.
That looked like a residential area too. 100 miles per hour.
As a residential area. All right. So I'm going to skip over to around the 6-minute mark.
Just
Used to be, one would say, what's that got to do with the price of tea in China? When they wanted to...
But if you fuck up, you fucked up.
All right, man. Get home safe.
Just minutes later, Officer Nunez responds to a reported accident.
McCain. Together is golden.
Nunez responds to a reported accident involving a tractor trailer and makes a chilling
Rocky, I'm gonna rewind back to the beginning.
realization. Nunez
Yeah, so bear with me, Baba Kashaz. I'm doing this lesson in transit. All right, bear with me one moment, Baba Kashaz. One second. Satan is messing with the video. These fucking devils, man.
All right, here we go.
This video contains police body cam footage that captures the final years of the North Burke driver, 24-year-old.
Template. So that's your registration, right? The reason for the years. I know. That's why I stopped them. Ma'am, that's why I stopped them. Have a nice night, okay? Yeah, that's why I'm stopping you for reckless driving, careless driving, speeding, and the light you ran, okay? You're doing at least 100 on Kennedy Boulevard.
That looked like a residential area too. 100 miles per hour in a residential area means what in kilometers? 130? That's above highway levels. That's up there.
It is. That's because the highway is 60, 65.
Good Lord. Because she said you almost hit a guy on a bike. That has to be residential. That's okay. Well, then they're in a parking lot, so it looks like it's residential, but I digress.
You almost struck my
Well,
car.
he said boulevard, so
Yeah.
on a boulevard.
Yeah, I've never seen a
Boulevard or not, and then sometimes it's not just the question.
Okay.
But if
Okay, but do you have a driver's license? You sure? Okay. All right, man. These are documents.
I'm sorry, we're on a first date, me and him.
That's fine, but almost killing each other is not the way to start on a first date.
Because it just got really carried away.
I know.
It's my fault. It's really my fault. I swear.
It's not your fault. It's
no,
not
it's
your
not.
fault.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not because you're not driving.
Yeah, that's what he says. It's not because if he gets into an accident, it's his fault.
It's not your fault. Because if he gets into an accident, it's his fault.
I got it.
When
Your business. I'm not going to be in the... I'm not saying...
see,
My fault
Listen,
because I was.
you're getting 3 tickets. I could have given you a lot more, okay? You're not even supposed to be driving at this time because you have a provisional license.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah, so that guy, the dumbass reprobate 24-year-old Jake, though, driving the car, had a provision license. He didn't actually have an official license. All right, that's why he's driving around with tags, because he just got a 2020, a brand new 2022 Kia vehicle. Okay, so I can't think of the name of the video, the actual model, but I believe it was the make of it was a Kia. So it was a a brand new 2022 Kia vehicle, most likely a sports car. So he's feeling himself. He's a young, stupid Jake. You know, he's driving around with this young, dumb Jake woman, okay, who's 3 years older than him, 27 years old. All right, so she's also an idiot for being in the car with another, a clear idiot who's speeding in a residential area. Okay, all right, and you know and to further confirm, she was just as wicked as he is that she justified his actions. Okay, but trying to take up for him. And, you know, she may have thought that was noble for taking up for her man, but she was actually justifying a wicked reprobate. Okay, all right, but I'm gonna continue.
Getting reckless. I didn't give you speeding. I'm giving you that break, all right? You got reckless, the traffic light that you ran, and for driving after hours. All right, man? You're getting reckless.
So in other words, man, having all this, having all that the cops said, he let him go. He let him off. He was supposed to, really what he's supposed to do, you know what I'm saying, is revoke that dude's license. That would have been a further example of exercising proper judgment, but he didn't do it. Okay, so he just justified a wicked doer. Now, what was the result of that? Right? Because, you know, and another reason why he did it is because, you know, these cops get a so-called bad rap, especially for all the wickedness they do to Jake, you know, persecuting Jake, you know what I'm saying? Pursuant to the curses, you know, we would have no assurance of our lives here. And a further part of that is, you know, the officials of this modern day, pagan Roman Empire, being America, all right, this beast system was created to destroy our people. So because of that, it's further because of that why these cops believe they have a bad rap. So he did it, you know what I'm saying, to subconsciously come across as a a good cop, you know what I'm saying, a fair, cool cop and whatnot. But really what he did, you know, was exercise poor judgment, okay, but not utilizing harsher judgments on his reprobate that was driving around reckless. All right, I'm gonna continue over around the 6-minute mark.
50% off any pizza, including new Parmesan stuff.
Yo, this is the same kid. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
So they're the ones who died.
Did you even attempt to fucking turn? You had a pass. You had a pass, my dude.
He shouldn't have been given a pass. All right.
Slow down. Minutes after.
I'm gonna say something fucked up, but in a way, I'm glad they're the only ones who died.
I'm not mad at you.
And the reason why I say that is because their actions led to their own death. Normally, when these people act fucking stupid, they kill other people on the road.
Did they die?
Exactly. All right. So this is why this is a prime example of poor judgment. So I'm gonna skip over to around the 8-minute mark. All right. 1 second, Baba Kashah.
Whoever. Good Lord.
124 miles per hour, just seconds before impact with the truck's trailer, where it continued to travel underneath until it came out the other side.
They're gone.
Oh, their whole upper body.
They're gone.
They went away in an instant. They went away in an instant.
They got their wig split.
So that's terrible judgment, man. And it was justifiable by the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, who kills and makes alive. That says in 1 Samuel 2:6. Okay, so, you know, minutes after, you know, that young reprobate Jake got that warning from that cop, the nigga proceeds to go 124 miles per hour, man. Okay, to the point to where it led into that car, you know, being dragged underneath a 18-wheeler. Okay, and when that car impacted with that 18-wheeler, okay, it essentially split their wigs, you know. All right, you know, cut off their the upper torso area. Whether that was their entire heads or not, this was horrible judgment, man. You see, and so this cop letting them off, knowing that this guy was a reckless driver, was poor judgment. Another example of poor judgment in this hypocritical, unrighteous beast system. So this is Sirach chapter 10. All right, started from the top. All right, Sirach 10:1. It says, "A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered." And prudent is like a synonym for wisdom, being wise. So that wasn't wise. That wasn't wise judgment that was exercised by that cop. And ironically, you know, cops, you know what I'm saying, are looked at, you know, as reckless themselves. In which pertaining to Jake, that's usually the case, you know. But in this case, this guy, you know, exercised poor judgment, okay, for being naive and being too nice. All right, and you know, the etymology of nice is stupid. Okay, so this is Sirach 10:2. It says, "As a judge of the people is himself, so are his officers." And you know, as in the officials of Esau, Edom, including his law enforcement. It says, "In what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein." Okay, so as a master is, so is a servant. You know, pursuing the wisdom of Solomon, 18th chapter. So this is Sirach 10:3. It says, "An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be established." So only through wisdom, all right, true divine, righteous wisdom, knowledge, understanding, shall a city be inhabited and truly inhabited, okay, and death minimized. Okay, so this is Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 3, and it says, "Through wisdom is an house builded, and by understanding it is established." All right, so America, Babylon the Great, okay, you know, was never established off of a true divine wisdom, not understanding, but rather, you know, the wisdom of the heart of fools, okay, of the fool himself, Esau, Edom, as our forefather Job described him in Job the 30th chapter. And this is hence why in Ecclesiastes 10:16 it says, "Woe be unto thee when thy king is a child." And that's the mentality of Esau, Edom. Okay, it's a big satanic child. Okay, where anything goes. Okay, all right. You know, without any temperance exercised, any self-control. Okay, you know, which is of the righteous counsel of the Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai. Okay, you know, to do everything in moderation. All right, but in America, Babylon the Great, you know, this place on the spirit of a free for all spirit. Case in point, man. All right. All right, where it says in 2 Peter 2:19, you know what I'm saying? When it says, "For they that promise them liberty are they themselves the servants of corruption." All right, there's too much liberty in America, Babylon the Great, and not enough temperance. You know, thus a lack of balance. Okay, and thus why death is greatly on the horizon, increasing in these last days. Okay, so let me go ahead and segue over to. All right, let me see. I've actually reached my destination, so I'm not going to make this too much longer. I may end up making the second part of this. All right, but this is 2nd Ezra 8 and 50. All right, 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50. And it reads, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." All right, you know, these people are extremely proud. Okay, because of the liberty that Esau has given them. Okay, all right, through through that theme of America, liberty and justice for all. All right, the satanic vibration that you could just be whatever you want to be. You can worship whatever God you want to worship. You can lay down with whoever and whatever you want to lay down with. Okay, you could just be a complete demon. And all right, and this is why, you know, a lack of judgment is bringing forth a lot of death in this place. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. All right, I'm going to continue in 2 Timothy. All right, 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. And it reads, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come," terrible times. It says, "For men," okay, it says, "For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful and unholy." And that's another component of why, you know, Yahweh by Shemeshai is intensifying the judgment in America, Babylon the Great. Why? Because, you know, these GMO babies are very, you know, self-willed and presumptuous. All right. You know, unmentored. All right. Very fallible. Okay. Very malleable. All right. You know, misguided. Okay. Through the satanic counsel of the satanic counsel of Esau, Edom. Okay. And this is another reason why they're, you know, them being disobedient to parents, because of lack of guidance, is the further characteristics of this young generation, further confirming that we're living in the last generation, man. Because if this trend was continue of foolishness and, you know, and foolish liberty in America, Babylon the Great, all right, you know, we'd be living in a complete chaotic setting. All right, and this is why Yahweh by Shemeshai is speeding up the times, all right, to move Esau from power. This is 2 Timothy 3:3. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce despisers of those that are good. Why? Because, all right, those who do good are ridiculed and persecuted. Okay, those who exercise judgment in the gates, all right, of the nobility of Edom, all right, waving that banner before the gates of the nobles, as it speaks about in Isaiah, the 13th chapter. And who's doing that? The prophets of Yahweh by Shem Shai. All right, this is Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 4. And it reads, therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. Okay, which man of law is slack? The laws, statutes, commandments of Yahweh by Shem Shai, man. Okay, because the wise judges of ancient Israel, okay, would have dealt with this guy harshly. But in Esau's beast, hypocritical, unrighteous beast system, this guy gets a pass. Okay. But yet, have a Jake looking like Philando Castile in Minneapolis, I believe it was, okay, get pulled over and his ass gets gunned down. So it's just nothing but consistent, unbiased judgment that takes place in Esau's system, man. This is why he is not fit to rule this earth. This is why this earth is in desperate need of righteous new management, as in righteous management. Habakkuk 1:4. Therefore the law is slack, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. All right, give me 1 second. All right. 1 second. All right. All right. So, therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth, man. Wrong judgment is proceeding in America, Babylon the Great, in this modern day time. All right, and this is why death is on the horizon. Okay. All right, this is 2 Ezra 11, and I'll start at verse 40. And it reads, all right. Yep, see the brother Aziala put a precept on the board. And Shalom to you, Akim. All right, tuning in. If you Akwath, then maybe tuning in, Yahweh Shemeshah Barakathum. All right, what the water for tuning in. All right, hey, Shalom, brother Yawana. Yahweh Shemeshah Barakathum. Shalom, brother Tazawam. Yahweh Shemeshah Barakathum. Hey, it's the water, Ak. Meyer Amschel Bauer is the name of that devil, that banker, that wicked Edomite Zionist banker I mentioned earlier that I quoted, that said, give me control of a man's money and I care not who prescribes the laws. And that further confirms that Esau is unlawful in righteousness. So I'm going to grab this quick precept before I continue. By the brother Aziala. Proverbs 28:5. Evil men understand not. Matter of fact, Salaki, let me start up. There's a little bit more meat on that. So on that bone. So let me go ahead and bring it out. Proverbs 28:4. Okay. Give me 1 second. It says, they that forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. See, obviously, these people, the vast majority in this world, especially in America, Babylon the Great, are not keeping the law, statutes, commandments. This is why wrong judgment has proceeded, as it said in Habakkuk 1:4. So this is verse 5. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord Yahweh by Shem Shai understand all things. Okay, why do we understand all things? Because we have the unction to know all things. Okay, by way of the gift of faith, the gifts, the gifts of the fruits of the Spirit, including faith, fear, and temperance. Being utilizing self-control with everything, and and doing nothing without counsel. Okay, within our leadership. Okay, all right, of Yasharala. Specifically the men of Great Millstone and elder bishops on down. Okay, all right, the apostles and elder bishops on down. And and if we don't, and whenever we don't see counsel, it's best to just cast lots. Okay, which is typically done by flipping a coin. If you're unsure about a decision, just cast lots, man. Flip a damn coin, man. Okay. All right, and leave it up to, and leave it in the hands of Yahweh by Shem Shai to govern your path. But yet these people don't exercise that. They don't utilize the wise counsel of Yahweh by Shem Shai by as opposed to taking matters into their own hands. And this is why death is on the horizon. So let's go back to 2 Esdras. 2 Esdras 11:40 says, and the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. And he's referring to the pagan Roman Empire. It says in verse 41, for the earth hast thou not judged with truth. You see, and this is the spirit, the satanic vibration, and the leg of the pagan Roman Empire, which is America, Babylon the Great. And this is why wrong judgment proceeded. And this is why people are getting put to death out here. Okay, all right, due to the judgments of Yahweh by Shem Shai's plagues. This is Proverbs 17:15, and it says, he that justifieth the wicked, and he that condemneth the just, even they both are abomination to the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai. You see? And once again, this goes into the vibration of America, the satanic vibration of America, to unjustifiably and partially judge and harshly judge the righteous and not reciprocate the same energy towards the wicked. Okay? So that's why the proper judges of Yasharallah, standing on the highways and hedges of the royal priesthood, are being persecuted, because we stand for righteousness, and this world, okay, collectively condones wickedness. This is Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 14. And it says, "And judgment is turned away backward, and justice standeth afar off. For truth is fallen in the street." Okay? For truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot answer. All right? All right, so that's why righteous judgment has been turned back away. Why? Because the righteous ordinances of the ancient world have been, disregarded by the wicked. All right, the wicked rulers, the wicked rulers of the darkness of this world. All right, the wicked Zionist international crime banking families. All right, going back into Meyer Amschel Bauer's quote. Okay, so this is Isaiah 59 and 15, "Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment." See? It displeases the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai that there's no righteous judgment, man. Case in point. All right? So, I'm going to go to continue. In 1 second. This is Obadiah, verse 21. All right, the book of Obadiah, let me see, 1 and 21. And it reads, okay, it reads, "And saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esau. And the kingdom shall be the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai." See? So the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai in due time is going to set up righteous judges, okay? Under the righteous judgment of Yahweh Shai and King David. A case in point. Okay? Because Esau needs to be judged, man. Okay? This demonic child, referencing Ecclesiastes 10 and 16, needs to be judged. Okay? In order for this world to have peace. Okay? Because the wage of sin is death, and the gift of life is eternal through Hamashiach Yahweh Shai Lord. And there's only peace to Yahweh Shai. And all those who don't believe in Yahweh Shai and walk the righteous path that Yahweh Shai walked, okay, will continue to dwell in great darkness until the day of their detriment, but can come at any time. Because it says in St. James 4 and 14, a man's life is like a vapor, roughly paraphrasing. Okay? So this is, end this off in the book of Micah, the 4th chapter. Micah chapter 4. In front of the top, and it says, "But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow into it, and many nations shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai, and to the house of the power of Jacob." All right, the brother's calling me right now, so I'll let the call pass. All right, just so we don't drown out the audio. And then I'll continue these last verses, and I'll end off the lesson, all right? So, Micah chapter 4 and verse 2 from the top, all right? You see, Micah chapter 4 and verse 2 says, "And many nations shall come and say, Come and let us go to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai, and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai from Jerusalem." So all these nations, okay, in the kingdom of heaven will seek our righteous counsel, our righteous wisdom of our righteous counsel, okay, for proper judgment and righteousness, how to govern themselves properly. Micah 4 and 3, "And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore." Okay, so no more war in the Holy Land for exposing you. Condom had impostors over there. Okay, no more war in the earth. By the way, the righteous judgments being reestablished, okay, under the second holy covenant of Yahweh by Shem Yashai. Where under the second holy covenant, those judges of the house of David, the 144,000, will be perfected. Okay, along with the rest of the nation of Israel. Okay, will have the laws, statutes, commandments of the first holy covenant embedded inside of them. Okay, to no longer be capable of sinning. And that's what further confirms who the proper judges are in righteousness. So Adam and Ratazaz and Lord willing, this lesson is further edifying his order to elect. Let me give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is the God of the living, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baruch Kodash. All right, for blessing me the spirit to do this lesson. I pray was further edifying his order to the body. You Akim tuning in. All right, and with that, a Baba Ball, soon and very soon. All right, Shalom, Labachayim, Shal, Bayashir Abada, Shayasharala, meaning peace to the house of peace to the house of David. Peace to the elect of the house of David of the nation of Israel. All right, and on to the next one.